Hi everyone. Painting a black and white portrait sketch is one of my favorite things to do, and it's easy enough for most beginners. As you can see, I'm working on watercolor paper that I've flooded with oranges and yellows. I let it dry completely, and then I drew some light outlines of my subject, actor Daniel Day-Lewis. And now I'm starting to paint his features. I'm using a pan of black paint that I popped out of a set of Prang watercolors. When I add water to it, I can get values that range from barely gray to jet black. You can paint your paper any color you like, as long as you make it a sort of medium value like this one, not too dark and not too light. Try using multiple colors. Analogous colors, such as orange and yellow, are next to each other on the color wheel, and they create a sense of harmony. I added more yellow over the spot where his face would be. Choose a reference photo that has a dramatic light source. Washed out, high-key subjects don't work well with this technique. Try to have a whole range of values from black to white. The color of your paper will become part of your shading. Think of it as your subject's dominant skin tone, and everything you add with your black paint will become shadows. You'll add highlights later. Please excuse the time jump here. I lost about a minute where all I did was paint a black background and outline highlights in his hair in a very light gray. Now I'm painting around those highlights with a No. 5 round brush. I like the variety of textures in the reference photo. His face has so much character, and it looks like he's about to laugh. The wrinkles around his eyes and beard are so much more fascinating to me as a painter than a perfectly smooth face is. If you've never painted a face like this, I think you should give it a try. They're easier and a lot more fun. If you've watched some of my other videos, you know that this is my favorite brush. It's a fuzzy old No. 6 round, and I use its ruined bristles to create hair and other rough textures. I'm using it to soften the hard edges in his hair and make some more complex lines. Daniel Day-Lewis is such an incredible actor, and he has this ability to simply become other people in a way that makes me wonder if he's even human. I'm putting in the shadows under his hat and on the side of his face. My husband Jeff and I saw There Will Be Blood on one of our first dates, and he's just an acting colossus. He's so good, it's scary. There's one thing I need to warn you about with this project. Don't try to lift the black paint with a wet brush or a paper towel. You'll pick up some of your colored background along with it, and that will only make your mistake look worse, and it'll be even harder to correct. So I know this is easy for me to say, but try not to make lots of mistakes. Work carefully and think before you make marks that you can't remove later. Now I'm adding darker shadows around his face with a No. 1 brush. The only brushes I've used on this painting have been a 1, 5, and 6. It's a very fast painting for me. It took about 90 minutes to finish, and the result of this kind of speed is a painting that's looser than what I usually create. It's actually more of a sketch. Last fall I painted a tighter version of this project with my Breaking Bad painting, and I've linked to it in case you're curious. It's one of my favorites. And finally, I'm adding my last layer of pure black. And now the fun part. I'm going to add highlights with white acrylic paint. I'm using an old No. 1 round brush. Don't use your best watercolor brushes for this. I'm going to put the white paint on the highlights, and this activity is so satisfying that I just can't paint them fast enough. I feel strangely greedy about the white parts, and I want to do them all at the same time, and I wish there were more. The white brings the painting to life in such a dramatic way, and while sticky acrylic paint makes me feel like I'm working with cake frosting or something, it's just pure joy for me. I really hope you'll try this project. Here's the finished painting. Thanks a lot for watching.